We decided to make a game because it's fun to create a game and it's fun to play a game. It involves a lot of creativity. You get to solve problems and make choices that you might not if you're making a utility, where you might be looking up APIs and solving problems by looking them up. We're creating everything that we do. So the game we made is called Bubbles, and it was inspired by the Windows Bubbles screensaver when someone thought, hey, why don't we put a player in there? And we did. So the game has evolved considerably since then, and now the player is a turtle in a sea of bubbles. If you hit a bubble, you bounce off very fast. If you hit a wall, you bounce off normally. The bubbles also bounce off walls. The walls are just at the edges of the world, which is very big compared to the screen that you can see. The goal of the game is to collect flags. Every time you collect a flag, you get a point. If you hit an enemy bubble, which looks like a sea urchin, then the game is over. High score is stored in the game, or in the device, and that's our game.
So if you start to play this game, you'll notice that you just can't see that far. If a bubble comes towards you, you just won't have enough time to get out of the way. So in order to solve this problem, we decided to implement a radar. This radar would be able to see within a radius of 20% of the width of the world of you. Now this radar would pick up flags, enemies, and bubbles. It would show flags as yellow circles, enemies as red circles, and bubbles as white circles, and you would appear in the center of the radar as a blue circle. Of course, we also had to align this with the camera so that it wouldn't fly off the screen, but in the end, this was a very useful addition to our project.
We used Box2D to help build our program. The really nice part about using Box2D is that there's a built-in physics engine. And in order to use this physics engine, all you have to do is attach something called a body def to each of the sprites, and in this case is a player. And a body def has something like a real body in a real world. There's a shape for it, there's a density, and there's a friction. And in order to work on the body, just like in the real world, you need to use forces. So to move an object, you use something called apply force to center, and you apply force, and it's represented as a vector, and this vector has an x force and a y force, and it moves things just like in the real world. And another really useful part about Box2D is that you can detect collisions really easily. There's something called a contact listener, and with a contact listener, every single time a body hits another body, you can detect it really easily. So, for example, when our player hits a bubble, there's the contact listener reacts, and it handles it so that when the player hits a bubble, the player will bounce off the bubble really sharply. And all this is really, really easy with Box2D and the physics engine, and we don't have to create a physics engine ourselves.
So in our game, you have to be able to move the player. On the desktop version, you move the player by pressing an arrow key corresponding to the direction in which you want to apply a force to the player. On the Android version, you swipe in the direction you want to apply a force to the player. It's as simple as that.
When making a game in libgdx, you have to have a game class. This game class represents your entire game. It is an overarching abstract class that has subsequent child screens. Now, these screens represent the physical screens of your game, such as your main menu, your actual game, or your leaderboards, let's say. For our specific game, we had three main screens. We had our main menu, we had our actual game, and we had our time trial mode.
We started this project when we were encouraged by our computer science teacher to contribute to this contest. And after just a little bit of time, we made a fun and awesome app. And it's amazing considering we didn't know any libgdx before, and we had to learn a lot of new skills to do it. So it's been a great experience.